How to find your purpose as a projector. I am reading a beautiful chart today for a 4-6 emotional projector, and I'm really going to spend time going through the basics of the human design system because this lady is newer to the system. So if you are somebody that is newer to human design and you want to understand the codes, but you feel like you're looking at a page of hieroglyphics, this is an incredible place to start because even if you aren't a projector, there might be certain things that you will learn in regard to how you can use your human design chart to find your purpose. If you're new here, hi, my name is Kylie and I've read close to 600 human design charts now. And I don't just read your chart, I interpret the information using my energetic gifts, really feeling into the energy of your body so that I get led through your energy, which aspects of the chart to pull out and to interpret. And I break it down in a really simple and easy to understand way so that you're not spending years trying to interpret the hieroglyphics that you see in front of you. I cannot wait to begin. Let's pull up Robyn's chart and dive into how this lady has a beautiful purpose to live in this life. Let's start with what it means to be a projector and how you can use this information to really help you find your purpose. So, when we come into human design, we first spend time understanding what your energy type is, and then we look into your authority. So, your energy type shows you how you're here to move through the world. It shows you what your strategy is to bring everything that you are calling in into your life. And it also shows you how you get to be in alignment versus where you are out of alignment. Now, what I say to people is that when it comes to alignment, being out of alignment is not a bad thing. Very often, when we're out of alignment, it's actually the universe preparing us on a greater scale to be further on in our alignment journey. So don't fear being out of alignment. Being out of alignment means that you're learning the lessons that are very necessary for you to get back into alignment. And I'll go through what that looks like specifically for you. When it comes to your authority, that's what helps you understand how you are here to make decisions. And so you'll hear me speak a lot about following your strategy and honoring your authority because those are the two most important elements in the entire human design system. Without those, the rest won't really fall into place. So I'm going to go through a lot of information today, but always go back to how can I live inside my strategy and follow my authority when it comes to making decisions. So being a projector means that you are here to wait for the invitations. And I actually really don't love that language because I feel like that gets projectors to sit back and feel like they just need to visualize or meditate on things and wait for somebody to invite them to do anything in this lifetime. But what I believe waiting for the invitation means is that you're preparing for the invitations to come your way. So this is really important for you with regards to understanding your purpose because you need to be invited to the big things in your life. You need to be invited into the right relationships, into the right career path, into even where you want to live, things like that. For the big things in life, you want to receive an invitation. Now, what does an invitation look like? If you were, for example, wanting to start an online brand and build a social media following, every single follower that follows you, that is an invitation that they want to hear more from you. Now, perhaps you're in a place of deciding what your actual vocation looks like. And purpose and vocation are two very different things, but I know that a lot of people think that it's the same thing. So your purpose in this lifetime is often a little bit more of a vague mystery. And your purpose is really to build connections in your life in order to eventually become a role model to others. And for you specifically, you're going to have your main character energy of saying yes to things without knowing where the path will take you. And we'll get deeper into that because there's a couple of paradoxical things that happen in your chart. But in order to say yes to the right things, you need to understand how to prepare for the invitations. So with being a projector, when you're living in your lower expression, which we all do, so we all have lower expressions and higher expressions. Your lower expression is when you're feeling really stuck in life, you feel like you're almost like fighting life, you feel that there's no flow. When you're in your lower expression as a projector, it means that you're not feeling seen, heard, and understood. And there will be many parts of your life where you will have felt bitter, which shows where you're out of alignment. And it's because people don't recognize you. And when a projector doesn't feel recognized, it's because you've got so much wisdom inside of you, because you are that obsessive creature by nature that loves to learn, that loves to bring in all of this wisdom that you want to share with the world. But when you share it and it doesn't land correctly because others aren't ready to receive it, that's when you feel really bitter, because you're like, well, I'm giving you all of this information. Why aren't you taking it? And a projector has a really deeply penetrating aura where you can deeply see into others, and you are really good at giving other people advice. Yet sometimes the lower expression is that you can't see yourself, but you get to see others really, really deeply. And this is why we often say that projectors are the midwives of the universe, because you're here to really guide people into what their purpose is, into what they need to be doing, things like that. And you've got that really beautiful energy where you can zoom out, witness everything that people are doing, and then say, well, if you just did this, you would have a better system in place and you'd get to the desired result that you want in a quicker way. So that is your superpower as being a projector. And this is where you have to prepare for the invitations, because you're going to have all of these things that you love and you're going to want to share them with people. But if people aren't ready to receive it, they're going to shut you out. So this is how you start to prepare for the invitations. You firstly have to recognize yourself. What are you really talented at? And I would even take a moment to think about, what are your natural talents? What have you studied? What have you learned? What are your hard skills, your soft skills, all of those different things, and really recognize them. Then I'd go and layer deeper and ask yourself, what are the characteristics that you have? Are you resilient? Are you kind? Are you somebody that is generous? What are the characteristics and those kinds of skills that you also have? And then I would also take a moment to look into your shadow. Now, your shadow are the parts of you that you feel embarrassed, ashamed, or guilty about. And it's the parts of you that you don't want to acknowledge are within you. But what happens is that when we acknowledge those parts of ourselves, we start to collapse the fear of judgment. Because if somebody comes to you and says, oh, you're so rude, and you go, actually, yes, I do know that they are parts of me. Notice, not the whole of you, but they are parts of me that can be rude. Then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I can't use that as a weapon against you, because you fully accepted that that is a part of you. And so when you can recognize yourself on that deep, deep level, you're going to start to find that you get so many invitations, because you fully own all of who you are. And when you can own all of who you are, the parts that are your weaknesses, that are your strengths, that are your shadows, that are your gifts in the world, people are going to just feel there's something different in your energy, and they're going to think of you. When they think of Robyn, it's like, oh, Robyn would be the perfect person that would be able to do this, or Robyn would be the perfect person that would be able to do this. So that is how we become a magnet for the invitations that you are going to then want to start manifesting in your life. Now, when the invitations come, and they are going to start coming, you're going to need to know, is this invitation correct for me? So because of your chart configuration, you're going to have a lot of different ideas flowing to you all of the time. And you might get really excited in the moment of, oh, I think that this idea could be for me, and you run with it. But you need to just take a moment to slow down. And if you slow down, you'll be able to speed up in your life. And the slowing down part means that you're really anchoring into, what are your feelings on this? So you are somebody with a lot of emotions. And part of your purpose in this life is to learn how to ride those waves of going, oh, this is amazing. Oh, I don't know if this is good. This is amazing. And I always like to describe this as Rapunzel from Tangled. There's that moment in the movie where she leaves her tower for the first time. She's like, this is amazing. This is the best day ever. Oh my gosh, mother's going to kill me. Why would I do this? I'm so silly. And then she's like, this is amazing. That is how your emotional authority works. So if you've ever been told before that you are overly emotional, it's not that you're overly emotional, it's that you're actually learning how to ride your emotional wave until there comes a point of clarity. And I want you to think back on many different moments in your life where you've said yes to things too quickly. And then you're like, oh, why did I say yes to that? I knew I should have said no. But in the moment, it felt really good and exciting. So I said yes. Or even times where you felt really flat and that you weren't able to get your energy up. And then maybe you said no to something and you're like, oh, I knew I should have said yes to something. So think of all of those moments and then think of moments where it felt like this whirlwind of like, yes, no, maybe I don't know. And then there comes a moment where it's like, oh, and there's clarity and there's that stillness and there's that beautiful, profound moment of, oh, I just know I need to do X, Y, and Z. And you've got a very strong connection to your intuition, a very, very strong connection to your intuition. So really think about what is in your gut. And that's really going to be your guiding force. The biggest thing that I've learned with human design, and this has helped me in countless situations, is to know that our mind is not where we actually make decisions from. And I know that that's probably new information because we've all been taught, well, you have to logically think about things, go and analyze it, make sure you've got all the data. But your mind is actually to draw in inspiration and to figure out things. And then we bring that information into our body, and it's our gut instincts that make our final decisions for us. And when we can lead our life with that gut instinct, that's when you'll never second guess yourself because you'll know that you're always making the correct decisions that honor you. Now, once you've made the decision, of course, you can then bring it back into analyzing it and making logical sense of things. But your decision needs to be from that intuition, that voice inside of you that says, yes, go. And it doesn't make any logical sense at times. And when it comes to your purpose, you are probably going to bring in different ideas and different ways of thinking. And a question that I really love to ask the universe when it comes to deciding or determining what your purpose in this life would be is, dear universe, I wonder what my purpose in this life could be. And you're going to start to see all of these different things coming up to you. Those are the invitations. And it could even be that you keep seeing the same flyer on a wall and you just really are drawn to it. That is an invitation. Perhaps you listen to a podcast and you hear the same kind of thought or the same kind of information coming up, and you're like, why does this keep finding me? Maybe it's even human design and coming into contact with this modality. Those are invitations. And when you follow them, you're going to then use your obsessive nature to figure out more information. And when you're figuring out more information, this is then going to activate your emotions of going, this is really exciting. Oh, I don't know about this. This feels a little bit flat. Oh, this isn't me. Oh, no. And then there's going to come that time where everything goes, oh, and that's when you know that you will have that ultimate clarity. And that clarity might be a yes, it might be a no, but you'll have absolute clarity. And when that clarity hits, you move and you move really quickly. And I've got an emotional authority myself. And I know that whenever I've gotten to that point of clarity, when that point of clarity comes, I move and I move incredibly quickly. And I have been known to quit jobs literally the next day when that clarity has come in, because it is so strong and you just know that it's all going to work out for you. But it's not a moment of excitement and it's not a moment of being in a low emotional state. It's this moment of neutrality. And you don't want to try and live life in that neutral phase. That's not what we're saying here either. It's to actually experience the highs and the lows of your emotional wave until there comes that point where you're like, oh, this is the decision that I now get to make. Now, looking at your emotional waves, you've got two types of emotional waves, which can make it quite tricky for you to navigate your emotions. So you are somebody that is very in tune with your emotions. And the one channel that you have, which is called the 5539 channel, it's a channel of emoting. And that channel, it gives you the capacity to be incredibly creative. There's a lot of creative energy in your chart, and your chart kind of alludes to you being brilliant at marketing or sales or even filmmaking, scripting, things like that. Anything that has a creative pulse behind it is something that you're going to be naturally really good at because you've got so much creative energy in your chart. With the creative energy in your chart, there are also going to be moments where that is on the flip side. So if you think of any kind of artists, it's almost like, and this just keeps coming to mind for some reason, but there's even that whiskey called Artist's Tears. And I think that that is such a beautiful metaphor for how the creation process goes with any artist. Very often artists go through phases of melancholy because they need to bring out this artistic surge from within them. And they do that through experiencing the melancholy, experiencing the low times, experiencing the times where you're questioning life and your purpose and everything. But it's in those moments of questioning things that the revelations kind of come. So you are here to be incredibly creative. But when you're in the melancholy with the channel of emoting, you may tend to find yourself emotionally eating or emotionally spending. And those are things that you just want to be aware of, because as a projector, you have a very delicate energy where you're very susceptible to feeling the energy that's around you, the world that's around you. You have that very delicate balance, and you are going to amplify other people's energy. And if you're in that low emotional phase, it's to be aware of it and then catch your patterns and change the patterns if you notice it happening on a continuous basis. And that's not easy to do. But if you're able to start doing that now already in your life, you're going to be literally a formidable force in this lifetime because you'll have such strong emotional intelligence. Now, how your emotions work as well, you've got two types of ways that your emotions work. The one way is that you're going to have these things happen to you and you take it in, you swallow it down, you suppress it. And this builds up and eventually you'll get to a point where you want to explode. Now, this is where touch can help you calm down. But you have a contradictory energy here because with your other emotional wave, the way that works is that it ratchets and it kind of falls and it's a little bit inconsistent. And so there are going to be times where you just want to remove yourself from everyone and have solitude. And there are going to be times where you'll need touch, but you really need to check in with yourself when you are having incredibly emotional moments. Do I want touch and to be held, or do I just want to take myself and spend some time in solitude in order to discharge my emotions and figure out what my emotions are trying to tell me? And with having such intense emotions, something that I would highly recommend you look into is emotional freedom techniques or breathwork or something like that, just to help you make sense of your emotions, because your emotions are incredibly strong and they are here to guide you in this lifetime. But I know that I, having a very similar configuration in my chart to you with the emotions, I know that my emotions used to really hinder me because people used to say, but you're just so up and you're just so down. Like, can't you just stabilize? And you are in a phase of your life now that you've just turned 21, where for the next 7 years, you're alchemizing everything in terms of your emotions, your physical body, your mind, your soul. It's all coming together over the next 7 years. And so you're going to have these things starting to regulate, but you're still going to have these very big fluctuations, and that's okay. Moving now into your gene keys. And the reason why I read both charts in tandem is because I believe that the gene keys gives us a deeper look on your purpose and how to discover it. It is an entirely different system. Now, it does work well with human design and it works on the Chinese I Ching system, which is still in human design. This just takes a deeper look at everything. And when I work with my clients on finding their purpose, I look into your four cardinal points, and your four cardinal points show you your compass for life, essentially. Now, your main character energy is to really find what you want to say yes to in life. And we've spoken about how those invitations will come. And for you as well, you're going to have to own your desires that you have. You have a very strong willpower, and people may have even told you that you're strong headed, that you're ambitious, that you may even be arrogant. You're not arrogant and you're not strong-willed in a bad way. You just have what 70% of the population don't have, which is consistent access to willpower. I'm also somebody that has that defined ego center, and often I have been told that I'm arrogant or that I want too much, but it's just the wiring of a highly ambitious person. And you want to literally unravel your ultimate potential in this life to be the best version of yourself. And not everyone is going to understand that. Now, because you're going to have desires placed on your heart, you need to own those desires. And not everybody is going to understand the desires that you have because they're going to feel so delulu to others. And when you really own those desires without needing to explain why or that it makes you a good person, you're really going to come into really finding your purpose because you're going to be owning all the little parts. And this is how manifestation and finding your purpose works. You're not going to ever be told that your purpose is to become a lawyer and to do that kind of work in this lifetime. How purpose works is that I know that my purpose in this lifetime is to be a light worker, but that could be through me being a mom. It could be me doing this kind of work. It could be me being a good friend. So there are many ways that I get to be a light worker, and that's purpose. Whereas vocation is the job that you have. And so when you start to own the little things about yourself, then the bigger things will find you and come that way. And so when you have these moments of, well, what are my desires? Maybe it's to start saying yes to more travel opportunities and saying no to these kinds of things. And it's really owning that without needing to overly explain yourself, because you're going to be somebody that really comes into knowing her own value in this world. And that is incredibly powerful to do. And the more you know your power and the more you know your value in this world, the more opportunities will come your way as well. When you can own those desires that you have, and people want to try and use it against you in a way that you're greedy, if you understand your why for owning those desires, it's going to really feed into your purpose. Now, something that you're going to have to be aware of when it does come to finding your purpose is that you have the energy amplified in your chart where you're going to want to become like others, because if you witness other people doing things and really succeeding in life, you're going to want to follow a similar path, because success is really important to you, and success comes when you feel recognized. And if other people in your space are being recognized or celebrated by their parents or their peers or anything like that, you're going to want to become like them, and you've got that comedian like energy where you start to merge into them. And I know growing up, I was always told, like, why do you have to be like other people? Can't you just be your own person? But you don't know who your own person is yet. And so you're still gaining all of this wisdom of like, oh, who am I? Like, do I want to be this kind of way or do I want to be that kind of way? And you are going to have that way of changing. But the moment you start to mimic other people or you start to copy other people and compare yourself, you lose your uniqueness, and that's when you fall into what we call mediocrity. And so you are here to really stand out and to find your empowerment. And when you find your empowerment, you're going to empower a lot of other people around you. But you really have to start with what makes me uniquely me and how can I own that? And it's not easy, but the more you do that, the more it's going to shift things. And maybe you're somebody that really loves the color yellow. I'm using really simple examples here, but maybe you really love the color yellow, but you're in a group of friends that loves all neutral colors. And now you're wanting to break out of the like normal style and wear yellow. That's actually what people will really celebrate you for and recognize you for. And then you're going to feel that success. And the more success you can feel in life, the more invitations you will start attracting. So again, what is it that makes you uniquely you? Or what is it that you've been scared to own about yourself that you can start doing just in tiny doses? It could be the way you do your makeup. It could be the way you style your clothing. It could be those little things that then lead up to the bigger things. So really sit with what is it that makes me uniquely me. Now, in your purpose sphere, which quite literally talks more about your purpose, it's a really special energy and it kind of ties in everything that we've already spoken about. And you are here to really love the work that you do. But being a projector means that you're not necessarily designed to do a traditional kind of 8 to 5 working job, because projectors have spurts of energy and then they need to rest and restore their energy. Now, because of the way you look at the world, you see things really differently, and you can find the gaps in people's systems and bridge them so that it makes more sense and it works more effectively and efficiently. And so your job here isn't to work harder, it's to be more efficient in everything that you're doing, because if you don't find the work that you love to do, it's not going to be a labor of love, and you could fall into the lower expression of this, which is to be a slave to your work. And this is going to be very important, very, very important to your health, because if a projector is overly working and not honoring their rest and rejuvenation cycles, they very often burn out at the age of around 35 because they've exerted themselves too much. And if they're really not feeling recognized and they're not feeling successful, they're going to start to feel really bitter. And that's what they will do at 35, is burn out. And so how can you find the things that you really love to do? And again, I know that at 21, this is a really big question to ask, but I want you to know this. It is not set in stone. Whatever you decide on in these years of your life, it doesn't mean that it has to be this for the rest of your life, and you can still go on a journey. Now, going on that journey is a really interesting thing for you, going back to human design for a minute here, because you have a 4-6 profile line. And what that means is that essentially part of your main character energy is that you are really good at networking with people, making friends. And even now, you may have a friend that's like, I want to start a social media account and really grow my following to be an influencer or a travel blogger or whatever it is. And you also have another friend that's really good at video editing, and you are the person that connects the two together. That is part of your main character energy. More on the subconscious side. So this is something that other people will see in you, but you don't necessarily recognize deeply about yourself yet, is that you are in a phase of life of trying everything, and allow yourself to try everything until around the age of 28, 30. This is going to continue. And you need to have a really good relationship with failure, because essentially you're fucking around to find out right now. And that's great. You want to have all of these different experiences. And I know that you might sometimes feel that there's this pressure on you to figure everything out in a specific amount of time with the configuration of your chart. But this is the time for you to really be going out and trying out all of these different things, because when you reach 28, 30-ish, you're going to start alchemizing all the experience that you would have gained in the first 28 to 30 years of your life. And then between the ages of 48 and 50, you're going to step into the final phase of your design, which is to become a role model. So putting it all together, you are the person that helps people network and connect together, and people see you as a role model to aspire to be. And that's a really cool energy to have. Again, I want to go back to the amount of energy you exert on work, because when you are very focused on what you're doing, you can almost bypass your stomach and forget to eat. And projectors and food are really interesting. Projectors get the hangriest out of all the energy types, and they also get what I call the fulgriest. So if your belly isn't feeling just really happy with you, you're going to find that that spikes your emotions. And because your emotions can really be spiked, you're going to want to have a good relationship with food. And so a projector, generally speaking, thrives off of eating smaller meals, but more frequently throughout the day. That's generally a projector's strategy when it comes to eating. And this is really important, because when you are so focused and you do forget to eat, that's when you'll fall into the lower expression of your design, and you'll start to pull yourself out of alignment. And something just as simple as that is something that you can really be aware of and work on from now, because that will always keep you in alignment. And what happens is that when we're in alignment, we come back into what we call homeostasis with our body. And when we're in homeostasis, energy is flowing through us beautifully. We are this life force that is able to move through life. And that is when we're in our optimal health. That's when our purpose is finding us. That's when you're attracting the invitations to your life. And so this is going to be a big part of you actually finding your purpose, which I know might feel not correlated, but it very much is. And then as well, to go further into this, is that you are ruled by your gut. And if you think about it, your gut is literally your belly. And what happens in your belly? Well, digestion. And so, in order to digest food and even information and the world around us, you have to have that good relationship with food and your body. So, really think about, you know, have you ever had those periods of time where you have worked past your stomach's signals? And how can you put in place maybe an alarm to make sure that you are eating on a more regular basis and really eating before you get to that point of feeling overly full? Because when you feel overly full or even hangry, that's when you fall into being sluggish as well. And your energy management is something that is of utmost priority and importance to you with everything that you do in life. Because again, projectors just have that delicate balance in their bodies of how much energy they are here to output. In talking about that, something that I just feel very strongly to mention here is that projectors are people that need to do at least 20 to 30 minutes of walking every single day. This helps drain the lymphatic system, and it also, again, helps you to digest information, helps you to digest food. And it's really important for projectors. It's important for all humans, but it's specifically more amplified of its importance for you to move, for your lymphatic drainage system to work. And that's also going to be part of preventing any future burnout that projectors are susceptible to. I lastly just want to go through the energy centers that will give you certain gifts. So when I look at the energy centers, there's either things that you're here to gain wisdom through, or there are things that you're here to teach on because you're already a master of them. So the things that you're here to gain wisdom through, your ideas, your values, your opinions, your insights into things, the way you communicate. You are somebody that is really easy to communicate with. You communicate in a very non-threatening way, but you don't always know how to articulate things because you are here to gain wisdom on how to communicate with other people. You are here to find wisdom in who you are, where you're going in life. And so you're not going to have everything figured out all of the time. And you're probably going to find that in your life, you will have a few different careers because of your chart configuration. And that's amazing. Give yourself the permission slip to have that pathway unfold for you, because with every iteration that you go through, you're going to learn something more about yourself and where you want to go. And that's how you're here to gain wisdom. You're also here to gain wisdom, a lot of wisdom, on your energy outputs. So you're going to really become a master in knowing how to exert energy and then when to rest and to regain energy. That is a hugely important thing. The things that you're here to teach on because you're going to be a master of now, you may not resonate with this immediately. And the reason for this is because nobody comes into this life having mastered everything, and we're always on a journey and there's no end destination to where we want to go. So really honor that, because you don't want to fall into the trap of going, oh, but I thought I should have known this by now. No, you're always on this journey. And so when you're in the lower expression, again, it's not a bad thing. It's a phase of, oh, I'm learning more. So because you are here to master these things, you're not necessarily going to you're not going to be conditioned by others, but you will fall into the shadow. So if you don't resonate with this information yet, it's just because you're in the lower expression. But the more you live in your strategy and authority, you're going to find that these things come naturally to you. So you are here to master knowing your value, your willpower, what you see value in, and then working toward that. And for you, you're probably going to be somebody that never really has to worry about finances, and you like the material world in terms of you like luxury and you like all of the things that money can get you, but you're not going to need to necessarily worry about money because you're really good at making it. And that's in your chart. It's a really beautiful energy, but it has to be doing the things that you love. You're here to also be a master of your intuition and even your health. But with people that I see having this configuration, they will not go to the doctor until it's really, really, really serious. So you'll have a slight inkling of when your body is kind of going on the downturn with whatever it is, but you have to be really, really, really sick before you do anything about it. And that's just something to be mindful of. But you do have this really good connection to your health, to your intuition. And on the converse, that also means that you've also got access to a lot of fears. So you fear the past repeating itself, you fear judgment, and you sometimes fear life being purposeless. And again, when you're in those moments, it's not a bad thing. It's you getting to question, well, what is the purpose? How can I forgive the past? How can I let go of the fear of judgment and do it anyway? And you are here to really, and we've spoken a lot about this already, but you're here to gain mastery over your emotions. And when you do gain mastery over your emotions, being an emotionally intelligent person is something that is so powerful. And especially after 2028, this is going to be an even more necessary skill. So know that this is something that you're already working on. And if you can be an emotionally resilient and intelligent person, it's going to be the skill set that stands out, especially from 2027, 2028 and beyond. And you're somebody that's really gifted in knowing how to bend time and to work with time. But in order to be in that high expression of knowing how to be really good at managing your time, you're probably going to be late for a couple of things at the moment, and you always leave things till the last minute. That's not a bad thing. You do need healthy pressure to build up in yourself so that you can act. Otherwise, if there's no pressure build up, it's like, oh, it's fine, it's grand, I'll do it tomorrow. So that is part of your design. And when you learn how to master that, which is simply just by going, how can I build up pressure so that it's a healthy amount, that I don't get into that very like uncomfortable edge of, I've left this till too late now, and now I've got even more pressure. And then it's like this whole anxious energy that will come out of you. But to put it all together, I see that you're very creative. You have an eye for beautiful, aesthetically pleasing things. If marketing or advertising or sales or anything in that sphere is resonant with you, know that you'd be brilliant at it because of the configuration that you do have. And you really are gifted in networking with people. So use the connections and the friends that you have to really help bring things to you. And then when all of these different things are coming to you, use your emotions to ride out that emotional wave until it comes to that point of clarity. And there's that solidness and there's that neutrality to help you understand which direction you need to move in. I really hope that today's reading has given you deeper insights into who you are, and come back to this video, rewatch it as many times as you want, because you might find that at different times and different periods in your life, different parts of the information may resonate deeper with you. But you have an incredibly beautiful chart, super powerful. And I know that whatever you put your mind to, you're going to do great at. And listen to what's on your heart. Your heart will lead the way to where you want to go.